Let's say I've been building a diagram concerning my new business, Superhero Clothiers, and I've done lots of brainstorming. I've got all these ideas all over my MindNode diagram. Now I need to organize them. MindNode makes this super easy. To begin with, you can just drag items around the screen. Let's start with this manufacturing node. When I first started it, I thought it was a separate idea that I developed separately, but now I'm realizing it's part of the overall business strategy. So all I have to do is drag it onto the central node, and you see the word attach pops up as soon as I let go. It gets automatically added, and there's the manufacturing branch coming right off the main node of Superhero Clothiers. You can do this at multiple levels. For instance, I've got this testing one, which goes into the product development. So I'm going to drag that over, and this time I'm going to put it on product development. And the word attach appears again. I'll just let go, and it goes in. Now you'll note once I did that, it turned everything to green, so it matches the node that it's currently in. I've got a couple more like this. For instance, superhero endorsements. So I'll just tap on that and drag it over the word marketing. The word attach appears, and now I've added it. I've got a bunch more here. I'm going to do those quickly. Engineering goes into product development. I've got a series of nodes here dealing with gloves, boots, and capes. They're going to go into specific product design, so I'm going to create a new node, and I'll call that design. And then I'm going to drag each one of those on top of design. And you can see it's attaching them to the design. And then I'm going to drag the design node into product development. So that's a really easy way to collect thoughts into little clumps and then drop them into your existing diagram. I had some additional ideas here about specific marketing, like company stores and boutiques and conventions. But I also had an idea about traditional clothing stores, and let's say we brainstormed that, but then decided we didn't want to use it. All I have to do is tap on the node, and then tap the delete button, and it's gone. You can also separate nodes just as easily. If I wanted to break manufacturing out into its own series of nodes, all I would have to do is tap on that, and then tap on the detach button. And you can see now I have separated manufacturing from the rest of the diagram. I'll go ahead and put it back in. And once I'm done with that, let's move this document over to the Mac so you can see how some of the same tools work on the Mac version of MindNode. All right, now I've switched over to the Mac, and I've got MindNode open. And it looks very familiar to the version of MindNode we just saw over on the iPad. It's got the exact same Superhero Clothiers diagram we've been working on. And you can see using iCloud, it synced everything just across. It works largely the same way. I can drag nodes if I want to reorganize them. If I want to separate them, I can do that here as well, just clicking on the detach button. And now I've got a separate piece for this node. Or I can drag it back onto the main one just by dragging it on, and you can see there it is again. While at the Mac, you can also use many of the other tools available to you in MindNode on the iPad and iPhone. First, you can apply stickers. I've got this Superhero Clothiers node selected, so I'll go over and click on the stickers button, and let's say I want to put this atomic symbol on as maybe a logo for the company. And just like that, I've added a sticker. There are even more tools to organize your documents, but first let's go back to the iPad. Okay, I'm back over on my iPad, and you can see the document has once again synced seamlessly from the Mac back to the iPad. Using iCloud Sync, even the little sticker I added is now still in the document, and any organizational changes I made came right along. But let's say I want to do some more organizational changes to it. At this point, you're going to want to access some of the more powerful tools in MindNode, and to do that, you go to the Tool palette, and that's in the upper left corner. Now, you can see that Tool palette has got 4 buttons. The first allows you to get back to your document list or your files picker. The second one is for sharing, and we're going to cover that in a separate screencast series. The third one deals with outlining mode, and I'm going to show you that before we finish this screencast, but not quite yet. But the fourth one is the one we want to look at right now. That is this button here for the inspectors. Now, when I tap that, it opened up these inspectors. I'm going to go ahead and now tap on the Superhero Clothiers node. And you can see it added additional inspectors once it realized I was working in a specific node.
And one of those is for notes. I want to add a note to this node, so I'll go ahead and tap on the note, and I can just type it right in there. Once the node is completed, I can dismiss the keyboard, and now I've got a note attached to that node. And just like everything else, it will follow the document to the iPhone and the Mac and any other device that I use it on. As you're using MindNode to diagram complex projects and ideas, these notes are super useful and give you a way to kind of add more detail as you work through a problem. Another inspector button you're going to want to be familiar with as you're organizing your diagrams is the Action Inspector. And that's this one right here with the circle and the 3 dots inside of it. This has a whole list of functions that you can do to your nodes that it just makes it very easy to go through and do the most common tasks. Like if you want to edit the title, you can just tap on that and it allows you to edit the title. Tasks and connections are going to be covered in a different screencast, but size to fit is useful. Let's say you've got a node that's kind of outgrown itself, like this one right here. I can tap on that and then tap on the size to fit content, and you can see the node resizes itself to fit that. Adding a link is also really useful. If you want to insert a hyperlink from one of your nodes to somewhere else, just tap that button, add your link, and you're good to go. Note folding is a great way to organize your MindNode. We're going to cover that in a separate screencast. Occasionally, you're going to have a MindNode where you're going to not want to add a sibling or a child, but a new parent. You can do that right here in the Action Inspector. The balance mind map is also very useful. Sometimes the mind map just gets a little out of whack as you start working with it and you realize suddenly it's kind of out of balance. I'm going to do that right now. When that happens, I can just click on the center node and then tap Balance Mind Node, and then it kind of straightens it out for you. You can also sort your nodes alphabetically. Those are all items in the Action Inspector that you'll find yourself using all of the time. The next inspector allows you to add stickers, and it's that same group of stickers we saw over on the Macs where everything just works. And you can also add photos from your photos library. We've already covered the Notes Inspector, and finally is the Formatting Inspector. And once again, when organizing your document, some of these tools can be quite useful. If you want to give your nodes a custom look, you can do it here. You can add a line to the outside. You can even change the shape. I've changed it to clouds here, or a rectangle, or a rounded rectangle. You can change the color of the fill if you want. They've got a whole series of colors here available to you. If you want to put a border around it, you can do that as well, or even change the typography of the font inside of a specific node. Moving down, you can also change the formatting of the diagram itself. While normally MindNode will put the nodes out to the right and the left of the central node idea, sometimes it makes more sense to put them on top or bottom, especially for hierarchical diagrams or organizational charts. In that case, you just tap that button and you can see it'll put it together. It doesn't really make sense for the diagram I built here, so I'll go ahead and switch it back. Manual layout I've already shown you, but it just allows you to kind of move things around in whatever way makes sense for you. Turning it off allows everything to snap back to that automatic formatting. The branch type button allows you to switch the look of the nodes. By default, they're these nice curved lines, but if you want them a little more, 90-degree rigid, which will make sense for some diagrams, you can do that here as well. And then the level dependent style button allows you to keep formatting consistent within same levels. Like earlier when I was copying nodes between different branches of this MindNode diagram, it would adopt the formatting and coloring of the destination node. Now I'm going to do something. I want you to watch carefully. I'm going to tap the canvas outside of a specific node. And while I was on that formatting palette, it turned into the themes palette. MindNode ships with several professionally designed, beautiful themes that you can apply to your MindNode diagrams. And you can customize these, and those customizations will go between the platforms, and that's great. But I just want to show you some of the nice themes they have already. I'm going to switch it to a tropical theme, and you can see all the colors and the shapes adjusted appropriately. Elegant is one of my favorites. If you like something darker, they've got the coffee, which is almost like a dark mode. Teal is nice if you're going to be putting it on a screen where you want that contrast. Delight is another really nice one that I like. The blackboard's cool. It has kind of a nice font for making it look like it was done on a blackboard. Here's Candyland, Vintage. ocean at grayscale, which is good if you're going to be printing this out to a black and white printer. So I'll go back and scroll back to the top, then we'll set this to tropical. But do spend a little time going through the themes and finding the ones that delight you the most, because as you spend time in MindNode, the happier you are with the way things look, the better work you're going to do with the application. And don't worry about it, because all of these themes will translate across to the iPhone, the Mac, the iPad versions. They just work everywhere. I'm going to go ahead and dismiss the inspectors now by tapping on the inspector button and the tool palette. And now I'm going to bring the outlining window up. And when I do that, you've got this nice big window here that gives you an outline of the entire MindNode document. It's just a super powerful tool. You can scroll through it, and like I said, as you're organizing, sometimes looking at it in this linear fashion allows you to see things differently in a way that you wouldn't otherwise. And the fact that you can do this in MindNode is just all the better. You can do it all in one application. From this window, you can also do search, but I'm going to cover that in the next screencast.
And you can see this diagram that kind of started out a jumbled mess at the beginning of the screencast is now very organized using the built-in tools of MindNode. So as you can see, even though MindNode is easy to pick up and start using, there's a lot of depth there, and you can really organize and customize this application to make it look and work the way you want it to.